All right, what's good, y'all? So we are about to talk Kenya and Ghana with my girl. Let me go ahead and invite her in. Let me go ahead and invite her in. Y'all give me 2 seconds while I do so. All right, and she has officially been invited. So y'all about to learn a lot today about Kenya and about Ghana. And I know there's been a lot of questions, especially about the land in Ghana. And we're about to get to the bottom of that ASAP. Hola.
Hi,
Okay, can you hear me good?
I can hear you. Is this fuzzy?
As far as like the
My
picture,
camera. Yeah, do I need to clean my screen?
it looks
It looks
fine to me.
fuzzy.
If you want to clean it, you more than welcome.
Yeah, because I got accused. Somebody DM'd me and said, "We love your content, but you just need to clean your cameras." Now I'm so conscious. Let me quickly get a tissue if you don't mind. Then at least I can be at peace.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, get your tissue.
Thank you so much. Okay. Right. Well, no difference, but there you go. At least I'm feeling better.
There you go. That's what it's all about. It's about how you feel.
Exactly. How are you? Gosh, it's been a bit crazy today, but I'm here.
No, I understand. That's the life of an entrepreneur and a CEO.
Mm, yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. But thank you so much for inviting me to your live.
Hmm.
I feel honored.
I appreciate you for pulling up, and I wanted to start from the very top. So,
Okay.
you can give the people as much as your story leading up to how you got where you are right now. Feel free to share. The floor is yours.
Wow, gosh, that's quite broad. Born to Ghanaian parents. So my parents are from Ghana, born and raised in the UK, specifically London. And I think I have. Oh, Marie's here. It's a lady called Marie. She's in Watamu in Diani. Um, yeah, so born and raised in the UK, London. And because I was in a household where my mum really taught us the culture of Ghana, because she's a queen mother in her village. And then I know that lots of people, I'm a queen, I'm a king, I'm a queen. It's become very diluted, but
Hmm.
actually my mum is an actual queen in her village. And so because of that, my mum never wanted us to lose the culture. And my mum married a Jamaican.
Hmm.
So again, she just was worried because she has to speak English in the house because of my stepdad. So I speak the Cree language fluently. I cook the food. I know how to dance the traditional dance. I know what the cloths mean. I know what the drum beats mean. I know kete. I just so much. I know some of the history my mom told us, and I had never stepped foot in Ghana. I went as a baby, and that was it. But I
Hmm.
always felt this connection with Africa, and I think that's because of the fact that my mum didn't want us to lose that. So I just never felt like I belonged in the UK. Even as a child, they used to laugh at me and say, "How can you be born here? You can't even deal with cold." I don't do cold work very well. I cold weather, mm-mm.
Hmm.
Just the environment. No, it's just never for me. So I knew that my son is now 30. I have a 30-year-old son who's married. And I knew that once my son bought his house, got was settled down, then I could finally leave the UK. But I came to Kenya for the very first time in 2017. I was at that place where I was sick of my job industry. I was a consultant in the cosmetic science industry. I was just fed up with my job, and work was running out. So I said I wanted to do something, but I don't believe in charities, especially what the charities have done in Africa. um, the damage of some of these charities. So I didn't believe in charities. So I wanted to do something for myself. So I thought soap making, I can teach soap making because soap is one of those things, products that you can use a lot of things from the earth. You can even make soap with beer. You can make soap with so many things. So I thought I would teach soap making. Connected with a Kenyan lady who had 14 orphanages. And I was really impressed because growing up, I only saw the YT that had charities. I'd never ever saw BLK people having their own charities. That was new for me.
Hmm.
So I connected with her and she said I can come and teach the teenagers how to make soap. So I came and I never ever taught the teenagers. She said to me, I think it'll be good if you teach the Maasai women. If people don't know who Maasai are. Maasai are a tribe in Kenya. They're the ones that wear the red checkered cloth, the spears, and they jump very high up and down. They're the ones that pierce the cow and drink the blood. And they fight tigers, that kind of thing. And they preserved their culture for many years. And they have the long necks with all the beads. That's the Maasai tribe. So I came to Maasai land, which is absolutely breathtaking. It's stunning. Hollywood uses it for movies and things. And we were driving through the Ngong Hills. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here. And we got out the car and these women came singing and doing I'm not even going to do it, doing the dance and everything else. I literally bawled my eyes out because I said, this is why I need to be here. So got there, ended up setting up a soap making and bead making enterprise because the women told me that YT people would come, take a lot of their jewelry, take it back to America, and they will never see them again, promising that they're going to sell it. And I asked them, how much do some of them buy it for you? And it was heartbreaking, peanuts. And I said, no, we're not doing this. So we set up an enterprise, and that enterprise, it wasn't even me as a middleman. I literally connected them with the women and the suppliers. What we did was we taught them things like, because they didn't even know how to post, go to DHL, package it, post it, and send, So it was all that kind of thing, presentation, how to do the beads in a way that's going to be palatable. Unfortunately, their beads are incredible, but it was too African. So it was how to kind of do it in a way where it was a bit palatable, where you're going to get the sales. Because at the end of the day, yes, I'm all for tradition, but we need to have money and we need to feed them. People go to school and come out of poverty. So we did those designs, and they will ask for specific designs. So that's where we came in, Eventually got them a shop and everything else. So my team grew to 5 of us. And we were coming back and forth. I was going to Uganda as well because I was working with women to make shea butter. So after a while going back and forth, I was like, you know what, I might as well stay here because I'm going back and forth and I'm feeling more of a connection and everything. So then, 2023, I relocated.
Got you. Okay. So that is a beautiful story. From
Thank you.
that, I wanted to ask. There's really a lot of directions I can go in, but I guess I'll go on this one first. With you having the more of a UK accent, how did your first interaction with the Kenya tribe go as far as the language barrier?
It was really tough. So they don't speak English. I had one lady called Mama Agnes who spoke English. I've got a video. I have posted a video actually with me speaking, doing the soap making and doing that. So the lady called Mama Agnes, she was the leader of the women. She was very respected in the tribe. She spoke English, which fascinated me. So I said, Mama Agnes, how comes you speak English and the rest don't speak English? And she said she had to lie to her husband that she was going to visit family in Ethiopia, but she went and to learn English. And so she would interpretate for me, and she fascinated me. So I asked to I said, can I go to your house? So I went to her home, and she says she rescues girls from who have been subjected to child marriage, also female genital mutilation and abuse. And she showed me where they stayed, and I was horrified. They stayed where the cows and the goats, not the cows, the chickens and goats were sleeping. I was absolutely horrified. So, and while we were there, I heard a very high pitched screeching, like scream. So we run out, and there was a woman who was holding her daughter that had FGM, female genital mutilation. For those who don't know what FGM is, it's basically circumcision for girls. And it had gone wrong, and her skirt was soaked in blood. So they were taking her to the traditional doctor. I was like, nah, this has to go to hospital. And they didn't have the money for that. So we took them to hospital, and I said, yeah, I need to stay. A work needs to be done. Just so many stories, so many stories. But yeah, Mama Agnes is the one that does the translation.
Got you. The woman who had to be rushed to the hospital. Did the traditional hospital?
The young girl. She was a
Yeah,
young girl.
the young girl. Did the hospital have the tools needed for the situation?
Yeah, because I took her private.
Like completely?
I took her private hospital and not the general hospital.
Oh, to the private hospital. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I paid for her to go private. Yeah, because they couldn't
Okay,
afford it.
got you. Okay, so in the tribe specifically, is it pronounced Maasai?
Yeah,
The,
Maasai.
the Maasai tribe. Okay, so in that tribe specifically, do people work traditional jobs or is it completely village setting 100%?
The the Maasai is one of the few tribes that really kept their tradition. So that you will see. I mean, I'm in the coast, which is about 9 hour, no, about 11 hour drive from Nairobi. 45 minutes on the plane, and
Mm,
the Maasai here, I've never seen them in European clothes. They are always in their traditional clothes. They're very very community orientated, so they always move together. They're not, you're getting some that are doing those traditional jobs, but they've really kept their tradition. Cows is the center of their tribe, so there's a lot of cow herding, and they center a lot around cows and things like that. But yeah, probably there'll be some that's come out of that and gone and got traditional jobs.
so it is possible, but it's not frequent to where it's like something
It's
that.
not as many as some of the other tribes because they're very, very traditional in what they do. But yeah, you will get some that obviously will go to work. I think I met one Maasai that worked for the government, the county government. But I'm sure there's some.
Okay, I see. Okay. All right. So when it comes to the soap making, what method did you end up teaching them from the village? Was it resources that you had brought for yourself, or was it resources that they already had in the village?
No, so I literally raised the money and bought everything myself, equipment, everything, because I wasn't sure what I'm gonna get on ground. I didn't know. So I literally brought everything over with me. And then when we were making the soap, one of the women's asked Mama Agnes, what is that in a container? Basically, it was oil.
Hmm.
Because you'd be surprised the price of oil in Africa, like baobab oil, moringa oil, sometimes is more expensive than the UK or America because they don't have the machines to extract. They've just got the raw materials. But when it comes to extracting, that's where you find the problem. So they just send out the raw materials. The West will then process it and sell it back a lot of the times.
Hmm.
So oils were quite expensive because when I was coming and I was getting the quotes from the lady from the orphanage, I was like, nah, I might as well bring it from the UK because it's more money. So when we were making the soaps, the lady basically asked Mama Agnes, what is that? And I said, oh, I can't remember what oil it was, if it was sunflower oil, one of the oils. And she said, I wish I could have even that much to cook with. And I said, oh my God, I've come here with a Western mentality. Okay, chuck all these things because obviously there's no point. You can't afford to buy it. So how am I going to teach you this and you can't afford the oils? So let's put that aside. What do you have that is a form of fat? Because soap making, science wise, you need an oil to mix with the sodium hydroxide. So they said, we've got cow fat. and pig fat. And I said, great, cow fat is great because the original form of soap making was made with tallow, which is cow fat.
Hmm.
So I taught them how to make it with cow fat, and then all they had rosemary, a lot of rosemary. And I said, okay, bring the rosemary because you can show them how to do it with rosemary, and that's literally how we ended up doing it. So yeah, that's a good question.
No, I see. It became almost a natural resource thing. I guess as long as the cattle is alive and healthy, that they could always
Yeah,
do it from that way, right?
yeah. And Masai had they because cows is very central to their tribe and it's quite sacred. They really look after their cows. In fact, when I was in that part of Kenya, I'd only buy my beef from them because I know how they look after their cows.
I see. Okay. When you were down in Uganda and when you were in Kenya, what would you say are the key differences between the two locations?
Uganda is very green. Like, if you threw a, a seed in the air, I'm telling you, it'll sprout. It's that green. And they have a lot of food. When I say by food, is like, I was surprised that the average guy could buy so much chicken and meat. Whereas in Kenya or in Ghana, the average person selling something on their head to get a little bit to eat, maybe there might be a little bit of fish, local fish and carbs. But Uganda, I mean, we was on the local bus and people sell on the bus and they were selling like massive skewers of chicken. People were just the locals were just buying it. Like there's a lot of food in Uganda, and it's just very green. That's all I remember. But it's not as developed as Kenya. Kenya is very developed. I mean, you go to Nairobi, and mate, you're in Europe. I mean, it's very very developed in Kenya. Very, especially in Nairobi. Even where I am in the coast, it's absolutely stunning. But Uganda not as developed. But if you're into agriculture, Uganda is very green. That's what I would say is the difference in terms of development.
Got you. Okay, so I know that I have done extensive research on who has the most expensive and the least expensive, I guess I would say most affordable apartments when it comes to people either just traveling through or locals that just want to get apartments. And I've come to the conclusion of two places that stand out the most, and that would be Egypt and Uganda. And I think that Uganda might actually have them beat. I had one woman tell me that in the hoodest part, that you can get an apartment for $20 a month, as low as $20 a month. Would you say that you agree with that?
I'm not sure because I didn't stay in Uganda like that. We went for the shea butter um, mission with the ladies. So I went to because I had a big order for shea butter
Hmm.
from a client that was in the UK, and we're talking tons. He's a multi-million pound guy that produces skincare products. So
Hmm.
he wanted tons, and I just refused to work through middlemen.
Hmm.
So I actually went myself to see if we could get the shea butter directly from the women. But unfortunately, they don't have the machinery and the tools to process the shea butter. So it ended up being an Asian guy who he's monopolized the shea butter in that area in that region, which I wasn't particularly happy because when I saw the state of the workers, and he's got like big machinery, and he had women that was they were on top of that machinery high up with no protective clothing or anything like that. Also, when I found out how much he paid the women for a whole like bag of shit, like $1, I was absolutely horrified. But the problem is I had taken the client's money and I
Hmm.
was there. He'd paid for my flight. I had to produce the shea butter, but unfortunately, it wasn't what I thought I would come to see. So in my shop I do have shea butter, but it's in small quantities from a Ugandan guy that a charity gave him the machinery to produce, but it's just manual, it's small amounts. So I get mine. He can only probably produce about 10 to 20 kg, not much at a time. So that's just what I found when I was there.
Okay, I see. I got you. Okay, so since you have more of a footing in Kenya, what would you say is the
Yeah.
most affordable apartment that you've seen so far?
In unfortunately, I've not stayed in places that I know about the rent and affordable. And one thing about the word affordable is what's affordable to one person may not be affordable to another. So I'd need to know, what do you mean by affordable? Then I can say I've stayed in Kenya when I did the work with the Maasai. I wasn't paying for anything because the lady with the orphanages allowed me to stay
Hmm.
in her place while we did. So I didn't really, I just contributed to stuff. And then when I came to live in Kenya myself, I stayed in Nairobi for 6 months, but my apartment was $3,000 a month. It was a duplex. Uh, Hold on, I'm so sorry about this dog.
No, it's
Tossing,
okay.
tossing. I'm sorry, I'm on a live and Chacha's barking. Yeah, so it was a rooftop. It had, swimming pool, gym, jacuzzi, sauna. I mean, it had all the works. And I stayed there for 6 months. And then I came to the coast, which is a lot cheaper. And then I bought property and things in the coast. So I'm not really affordable. I'm not sure. It depends on what you mean by affordable.
Okay, no, I got you. So I guess the better way to say it would be the least expensive that you've seen, like through personal experience.
Um, I would say in Nairobi, I lived in very kind of like expensive areas in Nairobi, so I can't speak on Nairobi.
Hmm.
And then the diasporans that I help to buy property here or stay here for rent, again, they tend to like to stay in particular areas. So again, but some of my friends who've got places, they pay around 10 to 15,000 Kenyan shillings a month, but that's in the proper kind of like they call it, not the exactly the higher end. It's more the cheaper end, and you're really in not the hood, but you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Those areas. So 10,000 Kenyan shillings a month is around £60, which would be about £80, $80, sorry.
Okay, so 60 pounds would be about $80, and that'd be about 10,000 Kenyan shillings.
About that, yeah.
Okay.
For like a one room, bathroom, sitting room, or like, yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
you. I know that I have a YouTuber friend. His name is No Limit Eddie, and he was in Egypt, and he had a sister who had a $89 a month apartment, and right upstairs from that apartment there was a $129 apartment, which was actually a little bit bigger than the one that was downstairs. So I think that Kenya, Uganda, and Egypt both share like within that price range when it comes to their monthly.
Yeah, it just all depends on what the apartment provides. The pricing in Egypt, you might get more for your money for
Hmm.
that price, and you come here and you're seeing it, and you're like, no way, because I get more for my money here. So it just all depends on what the facilities is, the area, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I got you. How many people have you helped to relocate and that have actually went through the full process of purchasing land?
So, in terms of the relocation, the people that I've helped to buy the land haven't relocated. They're diasporans who want to invest.
Hmm.
And then the people that I've helped relocate, oh gosh, Um, since doing this, because I haven't been doing this for long, but since doing it, I think I about hold on, I think about 15.
About 15.
Mm,
Okay, so let's talk about those 15. And
mm.
uh what would you say was the initial hesitation that you see commonly when you talk about relocating?
I think with the initial 15 that I helped sporadically over a period of time, because when I came over, it was a lot of friends and family were seeing the beach and everything. Oh my gosh, da 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 da, help me to come over. What do I need? Visa, blah, 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 XYZ, And then I started seeing a pattern. I started seeing the pattern of people didn't have proper financial plans and
Mhm,
people didn't have a proper exit strategy. So what
mhm,
was happening was people were coming on hype. They were coming on, coming to connect with my ancestors. People were coming with, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, bruv, as much as that's all nice, Africa is not the place to be coming on vibe. You need a proper financial plan and exit strategy. And that's from that experience is why I do what I do now is the build before you leave. I honestly do believe in building before you leave because some of them have actually gone back because they didn't have that proper strategy or plan. It was all on
mhm,
hype. And so from seeing that, it's made me like, no. Now, if people want to relocate, there is a system that they have to go through. If they want to use me, there is a proper structured system that they have to go through before they can relocate. Unless I can see that you are financially and emotionally ready. Because it's not, how do I say this? And I'm African, I'm Ghanaian. And I've been going back and forth to Ghana for a long time. My businesses was in Ghana. I bought property in Ghana, and things like that. But you've got to be emotionally ready for Africa because there is a there's a fantasy and there's this. Sometimes it can happen with this. Oh my God, I'm going to connect with my ancestors. Oh my God, Africa, Africa, and there needs to be an education that things are not going to work the way how you are used to it working.
mhm,
People may not embrace you in that way. Poverty can sometimes drive people's decisions and it's not nice.
mhm,
We have to prepare people so that when they come, there's no shock to the system, there's no disappointment, or there's a proper expectation.
mhm.
And this is what I've been seeing through my experience of helping people to come over, because even for myself I thought it was about visa and helping you to get a property and helping you maybe to set up your business and all that kind of stuff without the other things around it. So now I go through a whole program.
No, I understand.
Physically, yeah, physically, emotionally. I even talk about foods and herbs and everything. Just the whole holistic stress your nervous system, because a lot of diasporans are stressed. A lot of them. When I end up doing my consultancy, the stress that they're under. Also, black tax is real. As a lot of the Africans that have relocated, dealing with black tax, they have to be sending money home,
Mhm.
and the pressure of that again and what it's done to their nervous system and everything else. So there's a lot of undoing that needs to be done and a lot of building that needs to be done before coming. I'm of the school of thought of build, have seed money, and then come and build on top of your seed money. Whereas some people have this mindset, we go to Africa and then we'll make money. I don't agree with that. And I've seen a lot of people where that hasn't worked.
Yeah, I'm very shocked to hear that. I don't really know where that comes from. I don't think that money in totality in any of the continents or countries works like that. So I'm a little not confused at you, but more so confused at them for feeling like that's the way that money would work at all.
As in going to Africa and making money.
Yeah, yeah.
you'd be surprised. People think, oh my God, Africa's so cheap. First and foremost, one of the things I tell people is do not be converting money. No, you have to think like a local. Africa is a cash society. So just because you're thinking, oh my gosh, in the US it's this much, but in here it's so cheap, that's the worst thing you can do. You
Hmm.
literally have to think in local currencies. And number two, people feel like, oh my gosh, I've got a little bit of savings, or I've got this job, I've got an overseas job, so I can come. Okay, but your overseas job can let you go. Or Africa, I have to say, and I'm saying Africa, yes, I'm saying Africa because some people say, oh, Africa is not a continent, it's not a country, it's a continent. No, a lot of places are similar. Yeah, you will lose money. I don't care who you are. I don't care how experienced you are. I don't care if you're from Africa. You will lose. There is put a percentage of money being lost. Money being lost through incompetent people being incompetent, systems having to pay, having to what do you call it? Grease palms, things. So there's a percentage of that. So even if you say, oh, I've got this say a little bit of savings, it doesn't matter. You can land can be this price. Tomorrow you'll go and the land price is doubled.
Hmm.
You There's just so much. So people just need to be educated properly, and they need to have a proper financial plan, and they need to have an exit strategy. And once those things are put in place, then you don't have the situation of regret or coming back and wishing you'd never done it.
Right. Right. Okay, I see what you're saying. So I actually had a blessing in disguise about a year ago when I was able to find out that I was Mende and Timney in Sierra Leone, and I was getting ready to do the citizenship process. It ended up going from one visit to two visits, and those two visits have to be a year apart from each other. So while most people were like discouraged about that happening, I was more like, okay, cool. Now I get the opportunity to save up another year of USD. And I bought my dream car back in 2020 and I signed a 6 year lease. So clearly it's 2026 now. So I have a couple more months left. And at first, when I was going to do my first part of my citizenship, I was just going to pay the rest of the car off, ship it, and be on my way. But then I went, no, this would be a great opportunity with the citizenship change and with the rest of the contract that I have that ends at the end of this year. I might as well just use this opportunity to be patient and to just continue to stack, 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 and come up with my business ideas. Start to connect with people in Sierra Leone. Start to move around the pieces of the puzzle. Start to connect with the chiefs, so I can have a footing when I get there. And then I'll also have a lot of capital, and some will be used for my exchange, but most of it will be done for will just be for my foreign banking, so that I have the leverage to be able to implement when the credit system is apparent. I'll have the capital for the businesses that I want to start. So do you find that most people don't look at it in that way at all?
Yeah, like I always say personally, again, this is my own personal opinion, and I am not saying that it hasn't worked the other way. I'm somebody, I don't believe in absolutes. I don't believe in this is black, this is white. Like, I don't believe this is the only way. I never see things like that. This is my opinion, but yeah, it's happened in a different way for other people. I personally don't think that a diasporan should come to Africa and set up a business straight away. I don't. I
Mhm.
think that if part of your financial plan is to have a business and you have an online business and you are getting paid globally, because if that economy crashes, if your business is a physical business in that country and it's reliant on local money, if that economy crashes or something happens, you're in trouble,
Mhm.
right? Because it can be volatile. Also, the money can go really down. Look, at I was one of the countries I was looking at to have my store was Tanzania. I
Mhm.
would have been in trouble because of all the what happened with the woman, the lady president, and I mean the currency went terrible, and I would have been in issues. So I think a diasporan should have a digital business while they're there and be understanding the culture and the buying habits, because you will be surprised, right? While they're making their money overseas, it's digital, it's all fine. Then if you really want a local business there, study it, because it's very different. And that was the big mistake that I made. I've got a wellness shop and I'm actually closing it down next month and putting everything online. One of the things that I learned being there was it is a cash, where I am, it's a cash sensitive society,
Hmm.
right? Very different to Nairobi. Nairobi, people will buy and they don't even ask the price. Where I am, if somebody is doing a product for 1 shilling cheaper, and that product could not even be great in terms of the quality, they will leave and go there. It's just simple as that. And also another thing that we discovered was that they want you had to break the products down into tiny pieces for them to be able to buy.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking, it's 30 grams a pack. No, I've got to break it down to 50 grams. In fact, one of our soaps, three ladies came in, bought one and asked us to cut it into three pieces so that they can take. And just the buying habits of the people, the culture, the little nuances that ChatGPT and Google are not going to tell you, that you've got to study the buying habits of the people. And also where I am as well, people copy. So when we got there, there was no wellness shops. Now there's about 6, because people just copy. And all of these things you have to factor in. People are very tribalistic where I am. So the majority of the people who have the buying power, which are because it's a Muslim town where I am, and there's a particular tribe who have a bit more buying power because they're more united. They just buy from themselves. They will only shop in their own shops. It's very segregated. It's a weird culture. So again, no one's going to tell you this. So there's so many things at play that if you're a diasporan and you're just going over to Africa, and yes, I'm saying Africa because a lot of it is similar, and you just turn up and think, oh, I want to set up a business, and it's a physical business. I don't personally think that's a good idea. I think do an online business first, have a digital business, and while you're making money online, you're studying the culture. And then what I'd say as well is start small. That's another mistake I made. I went and got a big shop and did all of that. No, start a small and test market it. If it's a physical business, whether you go to farmers markets or whether you start just doing deliveries or whatever it is, test. Also as well, you have to remember, because of poverty, sometimes the local people will feel intimidated by you, because it's like, you look at us, we've been suffering for long and you've just come now and opened a big shop, and who do you think you are? You're coming here and taking that. Some people generally do think like that because they're intimidated. So again, you have to be there for some time, win over the people, build your contacts and all of that before you just come and boom, set up a shop or set up this business and set up this business. No, I don't think that that's a good strategy personally.
No, I understand. I understand. The tribes that practice the tribalism separation, have you had the opportunity to unite any of those tribes?
I don't believe that that's possible for a diasporan to be able to come and unite the tribes. This is something people have been trying to do for a very long time, and I don't think that is for a diasporan to come in. I think that will come from within the people. So, how are you going to go and unite the tribes? It's deep. It's a deep, and this is something I'm talking from an African. My parents are from Ghana. Been going to Ghana up and down, up and down. Even though tribalism is not as deep as what it is here, but for diasporan, first and foremost, this is my personal opinion.
Hmm.
We have to be a little bit careful with this. I'm coming in to come and help you guys to unite. I personally think that, I don't think it's our place to be able to do so. I think that that's something that should come from within their own people themselves. I don't think that we know enough. There's a lot of nuances again, and history and all that kind of stuff. As again, I'm not an absolutist. I'm not saying that that's just the only way. Maybe a diasporan can come and do it, you know. But from where I'm standing and looking and being in Africa for as long as I have, where I am certainly is too deep. It's deep. There's a lot of undoing that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of self-hate, and there's a lot of preferring the YT than even their own brother,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that that goes on. So no, I don't believe that at all.
Okay. And I'm not mad at that analysis. I think that this is one of
It's
those
opinion, isn't it?
yeah, I think it's one of those things where two things can be true. So because you're on the ground, you can never be wrong, especially with your lived experience. So I would say that once receiving my six DNA results, I definitely immediately, every single time that a new result came in, I immediately felt a switch from one tribe to the next, to the next, to the next. Like I felt the separation between the two. So I think that you're right about the diasporans, it not being their place because of how deeply rooted it is. I think that that's one perspective. I think that the other perspective is most of us in the diaspora are what I like to call hybrids, meaning that we connect a lot of the tribes that are not connected through our own blood that runs through our body. So then we have the opportunity to help certain people communicate that would have never had a reason to communicate before. And I think that with the proper research and the proper diplomatic articulation and the proper direction that you want to take the interaction in, that there can be certain people in every tribe that I've met. There are people who are dead content on this is what it is, this is what it's going to be. But standing directly behind them is another person saying, I don't like how this is going. I don't see any reason why I can't interact with them. And I've seen it in every single tribe. And I've gotten perks from being from certain tribes. And then I've gotten diaspora conversation from every single tribe as well. So I think that those two things will always be prevalent between every single tribe. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm not an absolutist, and I'm not one of those people that just because I have my opinion, that's the only opinion, and that's it. So that's your experience, and I have to respect that. I'm just going by what I've personally seen, being on the continent, and also what I've seen as a Ghanaian myself. And just interactions, just growing up, and the Ga tribe and the Ashanti tribe, and just what I've seen and how deep rooted it is. I just, my thing is that if a diasporan is coming to Africa, they can't. I don't agree with coming with a savior mentality, of I'm coming to give you the answer of united your tribe. That's where I personally don't agree with doing that. I think there needs to be. It's very sensitive. It's very sensitive, and it's annoying as well because we didn't have tribes before. It was clans, and this is something that the colonizer came and results of that, because we were clans. It's families. My mum is from the Oyuko clan, and it's this family and this clan, and we all kind of lived together and did our thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hey, I'm not mad at it either.
No, I understand. Even the conversation that we're having right now technically would be a form of that. I've never been to the UK before. Have you ever been to the States before?
Oh yeah, I've toured East Coast all the way down to the South, and then I've been to Florida. I haven't been to West Coast. but I've toured most of the East Coast and Florida. So yeah, I've been to the States a few times.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you're not missing out on really much going to the West. Is
No, when I went to the States, it just reminded me of candy floss. What do you guys call candy floss? You know that pink fluffy thing that's sugar and you have it at fairs and things, and it's on a
oh,
stick.
cotton candy.
Cotton candy.
Mm-hmm.
I see the States like cotton candy. It looks amazing, and then when you go and bite it, there's no substance.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about
That's
right.
my analogy. Yeah, that's my analogy of the States.
No, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Um, I think that that's another reason why it's so easy for when you do get a DNA result for you to identify with whatever that root is. As you can see, like I'm gonna try to move my head a little bit. This is a Sierra Leone picture. That's an Igbo Nigerian picture. This is an Igbo Nigerian picture. This is a Fulani hat. This is a Yoruba and Igbo horsetail. So with my results specifically, I kind of have to accidentally intermingle tribes that probably would have never even been intermingled in order for me to represent my full body in totality. All of these flags being aligned next to each other. That's probably never happened before. So I kind of have a different viewpoint that I come into it with. And then with none of this existing, I was trying to make sure that people would not mistake this one right here for the American flag because I don't really have a reason to have the American flag up here. So I look at the United States the same way that you look at it and the same way that most people look at it. And they've done a great job of being the propaganda machine for the past 250 years, for sure.
Yeah, marketing. It's all marketing.
Essentially. And they've mastered it. And a part of mastering marketing is that sometimes your knowledge is so infinite that it accidentally spills over to society and then they become masters of marketing. So when they leave, they're able to market other places based off of the knowledge that you gave them.
Yeah, I hear that.
Hmm. So then
I hear
that kind of became my plan or one of my plans with going to Sierra Leone. There's so much there's so much rich history and there's so much culture that is shadow banned or don't even have a voice at all that a voice will be given to um once I arrive and the other people that are doing great work. My guy Passport Stamp, he just got his dual citizenship. Worldwide Hajj, Alicia Rockman, Ursula, Joa Togwa. Like Sierra Leone is kind of like the little brother to me. It's the little brother, little sister of Ghana. Ghana is like the star child. It's like the kid that gets straight A's in school. She's got the perfect
that.
teeth. Um, she ain't never been arrested, never got a felony, never said a curse word. And then you got the other sibling that's like a straight B student might have a couple C's, but it's just as promising.
Yeah, you guys have come from a war, haven't you? War and all that stuff in
Like
Sierra
recently or
Leone.
just in general?
No, not too long ago. Did you guys have a war in Sierra Leone?
I'm not sure. I haven't
Yeah,
heard about it.
it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure Sierra Leone had a war. I'm sure of it. It's come out of something. I know that it's come out of something quite serious and brutal. What
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, I'm sure Sierra Leone is coming from a civil war.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do my due diligence on some research on that part.
Mm,
I haven't heard it,
yeah.
but I feel that all of the 54 countries all have like inner combat going on, and then you may get a little glimpse of it, especially like news wise. Some of them for long, some of them for
Ghana
a
has
couple of
never
days.
been had a civil war though. Ghana's never had a civil war.
Never. What about when they gained independence?
Yeah, they didn't have a civil war though. They weren't fighting each other
Like inner, or are you talking about versus the oppressor or versus themselves?
themselves. Ghana has never had a civil war.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, they've never
got
had a
you.
civil war.
Okay, so
So, like you said, the perfect A student. It's never had a civil war.
yeah, yeah, I see. I guess that brings me to the next part of when they did the year of return. I don't think that even at that time, nor all the way up until this time, have they had a regular dual citizenship process. Do you know?
I'm not sure how deep that went, but I think that that was a marketing plan to make money because one, the president himself is not a Pan Africanist; he's a puppet to the West.
Hmm.
The new president, Mahama, is, but Nana Akufo-Addo, I mean, what he did with what's his name, Chure, and he's a puppet to the West.
Hmm.
So for me, the year of return was very much a marketing spiel to make a lot of money because you, especially the Ghana card, it was like a money making machine, right? And they didn't put proper systems in place to support it. They didn't think it through properly.
Hmm.
And so there wasn't structures and systems. So a lot of African Americans were disappointed and went back. Things, already it just was almost bursting at the seams. Things were taking long to process, and they didn't expect or anticipate the amount of people that came back. So it just wasn't thought through properly. And like I said, a lot of it, there needs to be education.
Hmm.
Even if the government doesn't run it themselves, I believe that the government should fund educational organizations to educate, right? Because not all African Americans, but you are getting complaints from locals that African Americans are coming in, not all, some. I have
Hmm.
to be very clear about this. Some of them do come in with an entitlement mentality, with the US, well, it's done like this in the US, why isn't it done like this here?
Hmm.
Or, they wanted to come in and be made a chief, or wanted to a king, or wanted to come in and have their own space and land, as you know and just some of the locals felt that the way that they were treated, some of them live in their own area and don't integrate. Some of them have been there for a long time, they can't even speak the language.
Hmm.
So again, there wasn't that education from that side of things. And then from the Ghana side, some African Americans are feeling like, they're not treated like their brothers and sisters. Some of them feel like they've been duped. That they people charge them more, and all of this. There's not so that for me, there needed to be, for such a big operation, first things first is to have to back organizations to set up educational programs so the two can be educated about each other, so you don't have that conflict,
Hmm.
from cartoons for kids to just different things. And that didn't happen. The Kenyan government is running the same thing, and I really hope that they learn from Ghana. They're doing back to Eden, where they're offering African Americans and diasporans citizenship and land and all that. This is exactly the same thing. They're calling it back to Eden, and I really hope that they don't repeat the same mistakes.
I see.
Yeah.
Do you plan on being a part of it?
No, no, I'm not. I don't have connections like that in the government to be part of what they're doing.
Could you start to create them?
To create an educational program.
Well, that, but also the connection with the government.
It's not really a thing that is really a passion of mine. It's not really. I'm very very much about building before you leave. That's my mission. That's my goal. That's my
Hmm.
passion. And start small and see how that goes and grows. But I'm really much about helping people, and part of that, like I said, the education for people before they come. It's not just about, yes, there's a financial plan, but it's not just about a financial plan. It's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally ready, understanding how things work here. that it's not the same as over there, and all of these things, and having discovery trips where you're bringing people over and they're helping them to discover and learn and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's important.
I see. So what I'm hearing is I'm hearing overlap. So we have the government, we have the parliament chiefs, the town chief, the local chiefs. We have regular society, the high class, middle class. Then we have low class, and then we have extreme poverty. So I think that all of those things will always coexist, and that there's always going to be abundance of people at the bottom than at the top, which leaves a huge gap from government to extreme poverty. And I think that with no bridge going directly up from the top down or from down up, that is going to be longer that gap is there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I agree with that, definitely. And but there are organizations that the government can fund. There's Pan-Africanist organizations, there's people who are passionate about educating. There's loads of organizations that they can back because the government can't do everything. But
Mhm.
there is. And also as well, one thing I do like about the UK, what they do is in order for you to get your citizenship, you have to learn about UK culture and they give you a test,
Mhm.
and you have to have a certain amount of English to be able to pass to get your citizenship. And I think that that should be put in place when it comes to Ghana certainly should have done it, and so should Kenya. So when you come here, you're forced, if you want your citizenship, you're forced to integrate and learn the language and the culture because you know there's going to be an exam. So I think that they should adopt the British system to ensure that. That's one tool. And the other tool is to back and fund the organizations that are already existing to be able to do that educational program. I think it's important, and I think on the government website there should be signposting of this is available, that's available, that's available. Because otherwise, I think, and again, there's African Americans that have integrated, they have, they respect the local culture, and that's amazing. But there's some that hasn't, and I think that that's where you're able to catch those who haven't.
So, do you plan on giving this information to somebody else so that they can relay the message, or do you plan on relaying the message yourself, or how do you plan on going about that part?
For me, it's more about the work I'm doing with the diasporans that are coming over to come and build, right?
Hmm.
For me, it's about educating them properly so that, like I said, the building wealth before you come, the financial plan, and the education. So, yeah, but in terms of that place of where I'm government and all of that, I'm not ready yet for that because, like I said, I mean, my TikTok channel I started in December, late the 28th of December.
Hmm.
I just started my TikTok.
Hmm.
So it's within time, within time.
I understand. I'm not very versed in the Bible, but I am familiar with it. Both my parents were ministers, and I grew up in the church, etc., etc. I forgot what part of the Bible it was, but there was a part where a guy came looking for a king, and he was going to this family, and they had a bunch of brothers. All of the brothers were fit and articulate, and they were ready to become kings. And the guy was examining them, and he said, "It's none of y'all." And they were like, "Well, we have one more
Oh,
brother."
we're talking about when Samuel went to anoint David, when
Okay,
David was in the field,
there we
and it
go.
was his 10 brothers. Yeah, so he went to
Yes.
each brother, and all of them looked physically, they looked the part,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were like, anyone that would have saw them with the naked eye would have said, "This is king." But
Yes.
he went from one to the other because he had the horn to anoint them, and
Mm-hmm.
he wouldn't open that horn to anoint them. And then he said, but no, you've got. Where's your other brother? And they were like, who? And they were like, this has to be somebody else because God has sent me here, and none of them
Mm-hmm.
qualify. So there's no way God is crazy. And they were like confused. And then they said, oh, David, oh, he's in the field. Which for me, I'm thinking David must have been illegitimate. Because if you cannot consider him as one of the sons, definitely he's probably an illegitimate child or something. And he
Mm-hmm.
was in the field like he always was in the field. And so they brought him surprised. And when they brought him, Samuel anointed him. And that's when he said the scripture, God looks at the, man looks at the outside, but God looks at the heart.
I think that that's a perfect analogy for this one currently.
Which particular part? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing where you're connecting the scripture to.
The entire thing. So I think that our climate, our Afro diaspora is extremely sensitive. And I had there was a woman who was just in the comments. She was on a panel the other day and she has the exact same accent that you have. And there were African Americans in there and they were making fun of her because they were saying that she was trying to make her voice sound white. And I had to educate them that she's from Sierra Leone and Sierra Leone's colonized by the British. So she speaks in this accent that's probably passed down from her grandma, her mom. This is just the way that she speaks, but she's, hold on one second. They're making me do this puzzle for whatever
Oh
reason.
yeah, I get that. Yeah. I thought it was just me. I get this puzzle thing.
So I guess they feel like I'm four. Okay. So, um, and I had to from a basic human anatomy standpoint, from a scientific standpoint, from a geographical standpoint, from a colonization standpoint, and then also from a humanity standpoint of you can clearly look at her photo, even though it's this big, and see that that's a black woman. Why would you even speak to her that way? To where you would make her feel that way just because you have a borrowed American accent and she has a UK accent, when we can really say that neither, if we want to get down to the nitty gritty, we could say that neither one of these accents are like a motherland, unless you feel that everybody is just indigenous from everywhere, which is another conversation. So the sensitivity within that climate puts us in a position to where we have a issue appointing people who would be the most qualified to be in certain positions, even if it's not indigenous to them. So the one thing that's inevitable in life is migration. Your story that you told earlier started somewhere and now it's maneuvered somewhere else. So while the maneuvering is taking place, I believe that the calling that you have in the places that you're going to be at are going to be far exceeding even just the business plans that you have currently. You have the
You
knowledge.
think?
Yeah, you have the knowledge and you have the lived experience.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on what you said because I've been in rooms with African American women, and I've felt intimidated because I'm being accused of being uppity because of the way I speak.
Oh, uppity.
Um,
Okay, uppity. Okay,
yeah, I
okay.
didn't even know what that was until I got to learn.
Sedity,
And then, yeah, eh?
sedity, and uppity is like the same thing. Bougie.
What's that? Yeah,
Yeah, it's all the same.
um, right. And I think I'm better than everyone else. And then there is an African American small community in a place in the coast, and I was invited. by one of the African American women to come. They get together every month and they have soul food and everybody chills. And I was so excited. I was so excited to come, and I went. And oh my gosh, one lady just out of nowhere just like verbally attacked me because I had allergies. So the food was 2,000 Kenyan shillings, and when they were coming around to take the money, I was saying, I've had some allergies. I've taken allergy tablets. I don't want to eat the food now. Do you have a takeaway so that I can take the food away? But the woman, I don't know if she heard me, but she was like, I'm not even going to do the African American accent, but she was like, if you ain't going to pay, you better leave. Da, 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 and in front of everybody, which is cussing me in front of everybody. And I was raised a lot better than that. There's absolutely no way on hell that I'm going to just give you that same level. So I said, I'm really sorry that I've upset you. However, this is what happened, but it's okay. Let me just quickly pay for the food, but I won't be able to eat that now because I need to make sure that. Anyway, she was cussing, and I was like, her name was Wanda. I was like, Wanda, I'm really, and she was like, I don't want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, fine. Then I came to take footage so that I can post it on so I started taking footage, and then she started cussing me. You're not supposed to be taking footage here, blah, blah, blah. It says it in the WhatsApp group. I said, I'm not a part of the WhatsApp group. I just got invited to come, and she just wouldn't listen. And honestly, it was so intimidating, and the way she was and all of the head movements, and I was like, you are behaving like a stereotype. This is what you're doing, is what has been sold to us, that's how you guys behave. And because I've traveled and because I have African American friends, I know that that's not everybody. But if I was one of those people that haven't, you are literally giving me what they want you to give me. You was giving me. I know it. No disrespect to anybody who's from Southside Chicago, but what we hear, you're literally you're giving me that, and it's such a shame. And you have taken that from America and you brought it here to the motherland. And unfortunately, this is what's going on. There's some people that have not healed. There are diasporans that haven't healed, and they have come to the motherland. And this is what I'm saying about education, and while they are there, and not when they come over here. It's too late. You need to start educating people while they are there. And
No, I
another
see.
thing that I'd like to add is
Oh,
a
please.
lot of diasporans, quickly, sorry, a lot of diasporans feel like they need to come to the motherland to educate people, to help the Africans, and this kind of mentality. And I'm like, bruv, you need help where you are. Yeah? There are broken people that are coming to Africa. Take that energy for the people that are there before they come. Because they're just clashes and things like that. I got no, 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 no. Put that energy for your own people. That's just because people are coming as if diasporans are fixed and diasporans have all the answer just because they have the money. But a lot of them are emotionally broken, and that needs sorting out. So that's been my experience.
No, I understand. I want to apologize on behalf of that
Okay.
woman for sure. And it's a blessing and a curse because I love my black women all over the entire diaspora, but I will say that African American women control culture when it comes to black women.
Ah,
And
interesting.
I mean that in both a positive and a negative way. When when um when African American women are showcased in a beautiful light, like a Michelle Obama or a Oprah Winfrey, then black women all across the world are represented in a beautiful way. But when black women are represented like a Megan Thee Stallion or a Cardi B or a Sexy Red, then that's the way that just melanated women in general are viewed. America has the biggest voice, and
Hmm.
black people control culture in America. So it's just an inevitable thing. So I
Yeah.
understand. I understand your experience. Now, imagine dating that for 31 years. Now you see where the gender war comes in when it comes to America. And now
Yeah,
you
that's not good.
no,
That's
it's
not
not.
good. And I met and at that same event there was a preacher. He was like a pastor who had come, and oh my gosh, I thought he wouldn't. First of all, he wouldn't let me get a word in edgeways. He was telling me about my culture. And he was coming in with this whole, I'm coming to teach them because they don't even know the Bible. They don't know anything. And I have to come and tell. Can you imagine? I have to teach pastors the Bible they don't know. And we were having conversations, and he was telling me about the fact that the Ashanti, the Christianity was in Africa, and we worship. I said, no, as an Ashanti, there is no word. There is, first and foremost, there is no Satan in our language, and there is no God. The colonizer interpreted the source as God because that is how they see their gods. And so we have just followed on from that. But we don't in African spirituality, we don't believe in that. We don't believe in a God like how they believe. We believe in a source. And that source represents male and female. It represents Mother Earth is the female version, and in the source there is the male version. There's an equilibrium, right? And we have many elements that we involve in our spirituality. It's not the same. So this guy was arguing with me about Christianity in Africa. I said, who told you? And I was trying to tell him, why don't you listen to the local people, because they don't have a voice. You're just coming in saying that you're coming to preach and share the gospel and tell people because they don't understand. And I said, but that's ignorant. Why don't you stay where you are in America and preach the gospel there? We have our own spirituality. We have our own ways of doing things. Why must you come and change that way? And you're doing it, and you don't even listen to the people. You don't listen to. We don't believe, like in a lot of African spirituality. It's been, this whole ancestral worship. Nobody worships their ancestors. We don't worship our ancestors. We acknowledge them. If you look at the tree language in Ashanti, they say Nana, which means an elderly or chief or something, and they call on the ancestors as in they're respecting them. We don't worship them. We connect with them, and we respect our forefathers coming down. It's just the culture. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? And we involve nature in our spirituality. We involve community. It's like here in Kenya, Ubuntu. I am because of you. You're not, and I'm not. It's Ubuntu. There's so many elements in our spirituality. So for this African American to come and be pushing the colonizer's religion,
Mm-hmm.
but then wrapping it in this whole and Jesus was BLK, and the Garden of Eden was, wrapping it in a way that suits his narrative,
Mm-hmm.
but then you're not listening to a spirituality that was before the religion you're coming to preach.
No, I get it. I understand exactly what you're saying. Black people in America, we have a lot of confidence. A
A
lot of,
lot,
we have a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence. And
a lot.
it's such a it's like a ball of energy. And you have directions. You have negative direction, positive direction. And that ball of energy could just go in any direction. So imagine like that woman that was yelling at you. Imagine if she used that same energy to be a feminine, supportive wife. The same energy. And I think that that's what it is when it comes to America and black people. We're always just ready to go. We're ready to get started, to for the ball to be rolling on things. And I think that for the most part, we as in totality, everyone's going to need it on a different level, but we in totality need to be able to separate what happened in America as far as our slavery and what happened in Africa as far as the colonization, and be sensitive and learn how to be sensitive to both sides at the same time, rather
Exactly.
rather than a comparative
Oh,
suffering.
I totally agree with that. And I think that's where the education needs to come in from both sides. And both sides are not perfect. So they say this about African Americans, but then there's also the side of the Africans as well that play a
Hmm.
part in some of the things that they do, which is totally wrong, and I'm not backing any sides. What I'm saying is that both of them need education. Both of them need healing
Hmm.
on
Yeah.
both, and that's where I think that would be utopia for me if that took place. Because I do have that mentality that African Americans, Caribbeans, Mother Africa belongs to you. It's yours, which I was so shocked when I came here to find Africans that have the mentality that you're not wanted here as a diasporan. You need to go back because you're coming to take our jobs.
Hmm.
Why don't you go to your country? Why don't you stay where you are? And blah blah. And I was actually very shocked that that mentality existed here. And again, that's ignorance. That's lack of understanding. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and I think one of the first work that needs to be done is to remove the Trojan horses, especially when it comes to Africa. A little bit different with African Americans, but with Africans, the Trojan horses that the colonizer left with us needs to be removed, right? I think my
Right.
battery's done from my Kindle. I might have to hold my phone now because my gimbal battery died. We need to remove the Trojan horses, and one of them is religion. It's not helping our people, I'm telling you. It's not. There is a power that happens when you're able to connect to the source, where you're able to connect with both the feminine and the masculine energies, when you're able to acknowledge your ancestors, when you're able to live in Ubuntu and community. There's a power that comes with that, which they realized, they knew. That's why they removed it. And they put spirituality, like my housekeeper, he's a pastor, and he was talking about, where when we get unalived, we're all gonna go to heaven. I said, who listen, on the plantation, because your living conditions were so horrific, they told you that hang on, that even though you're suffering now, when you're unalived, you're gonna go to heaven. That is a slave mentality, and that is a European teaching. So you will take the suffering. Who told you? Even when you look in scripture, it doesn't actually say that heaven is in the sky. There's going to be the scripture says there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. Who told you? But you see, these subtle teachings, they're Trojan horses. They need to be removed. And then there's another Trojan horse, the education system that was still hasn't been changed, that the missionaries set up. That needs to be removed. And we need to put our own educational systems in place. Because when I've gone to schools and I've spoken, because where I am, teenage pregnancy is at an all-time high. A lot of the borders, and when I say borders, that's the motorbike taxis, right? You've got Uber and then they're on motorbike as well. A lot of them that carry these young girls to school, they're sleeping with them. And some of them are getting pregnant very early. So I've gone into schools to talk to girls, right? Because I was a teenage mother. My son's 30 now. I had him at the age of 17. So I was a teenage mom. So I go and talk to them. And you know what, when I say that, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to marry a Mzungu. A Mzungu is a YT man. Literally. I want to marry a Mzungu.
I wasn't expecting that.
This is a reality. And what I'm saying is, now the diasporans are coming in with this, I'm going to connect with my ancestors. I'm coming in on a vibe. And this is reality, what's going on the ground. You are going to have to expect, not everywhere, right? Nairobi's slightly different, but certain places where you go, you're going to expect that your own African brother will sell you out for a YT person. 100%. It's been done to me so many times. That's just the reality. I'm not going to sell you a fantasy. That's the reality. They will. Mine, I did a post about it. My next door, okay, there is a resort next to me,
Hmm.
and the owners are Italians, and they told an agent that they are not selling any of the apartments to BLK people or Africans. So can he find Europeans and Chinese people? So because he knows that I work with diasporans, he approached me to ask if I've got European customers because they won't sell. I sat there and I looked at him. I said, so they were comfortable to say this to you as a BLK African. They were comfortable to say that. And then you was comfortable to come and carry this news to me. This is a reality. So we have to also educate African Americans that unfortunately you're going to come to some people who have colonized mentality. That's just how it is. And you have to prepare for that. You
That's
know,
real. That's real.
I never sugarcoat anything. This is, listen, I've been to places where they have served the YT. I've been sitting there for almost 40 minutes waiting for service. And then a YT person will come in and they will serve them. Yeah.
When you ask the young women why they want to marry the white man, what answer do they usually give you?
Oh, because they've got money. I can go to Europe. I'm not going to suffer.
Are the African men out there really dropping the ball in that way, or is that just regular living conditions in that area that you're talking about specifically?
Again, we are in a culture where men do not express themselves. Men cannot talk about certain issues that are going on. People are very private because they're worried about what people say. So you can see some men are absolutely depressed, or they're not mentally, they need somebody to talk to, but they don't have that outlet. There's no therapist here. There's no therapy here. They don't even know what therapy is. So some people are broken. You know, men, there are men that need healing and therapy. There's the issue of poverty and lack of education. That also comes to play as well. My mum always says, if you're going to run from anything, run from poverty, because poverty is 99.9% the cause of a lot of issues. It's poverty. So some of the men, even if they wanted to, they feel pride, isn't it? A man's pride to be able to be able to protect and feed and provide for his family. If that's being stripped away, I mean, look what that's doing spiritually to the man. So I don't know if that's answered your question.
Yeah, in a way it has. It puts me in an extreme middle ground, because I know that in s- and I'm speaking for Sierra Leone first, but I do plan on going to these other places. I know
Mm.
specifically in Sierra Leone there are 16 ethnic groups. There are 190 chiefdoms. There is a place called Easy Solar that for $5 a month, they will provide a hotspot for a village. And they're looking to do that initiative so that they can spread their business out amongst the entire 190 chiefdoms. But they don't have a spokesperson or a big enough voice to be able to tell them. I just so happen to hear it. So I have already volunteered to be that person and they've already accepted, but of course I'm not on the ground yet. And also there's a plastic recycling initiative that's going on for affordable infrastructure and affordable housing. So within the 190 chiefdoms, the 16 tribes govern over the 190 chiefdoms. So me and some more Sierra Leone locals are forming a coalition, which we've already got in agreements between three of the tribes. So now we're working on the other tribes so that we can have representation for every tribe equally and all 190 of the chiefdoms so that we can form a presentation with the affordable plastic recycling companies so that they can pay the locals to recycle their plastic and be more intentful about it rather than it just be like dumping it in a landfill and then everybody has to scavenger through it. We can actually have the recyclable places at neutral hubs to start off, and then we can have them at individual homes so that we can create a route for the plastic recycling to go directly from the person to the company, and then there be a payout for that plastic, and then that creates more jobs, and then that creates more developed infrastructure, and then we take that plan to the government building, and then
Mm.
the funds that they have allocated for infrastructure now becomes directly divvied down to the community as well. So
That sounds amazing. That sounds
uh,
like an amazing project. I wish you
thank
all the
you,
best with it.
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
Sounds
It's
really cool.
heavily in the works, and I can appreciate the receptiveness that I've gotten so far, but I can also see from a bit of the pushback that I've gotten so far and from a little bit of this conversation, the who does he think he is? Why is he the person to do it? This is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to Black Americans. Like I can see that happening in real time with other people, and then I can also see it happening, especially in the future when I get on the land. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then there's also the what you have to also look at as well is there will be people who are very enthusiastic about your project and having all buy-in, but they not some, not everybody, some. My business partner is amazing. I mean, I've known him since 2017 and I do everything with my business partner and he is a local. He is my brother. He's that good. So you will get some good people. But you'll also get some people who are very, very enthusiastic. Very, I'm all for you, brother, because they have a wrong motive. Their motive is they see an African American, you're coming from overseas, is money. So you'll have some people like that. And then along the way, as my mum will say, they will show you pepe. Yeah, they will show you pepe along the way because they're there because they see you as a cash cow and they won't reveal that. They'll be very, I'm supporting you, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Then you know, but unfortunately, you're not going to know until you get through the projects and then you're going to see, because not everybody's going to be there because of a genuine heart. There'll be people there because they see African American and their money. I mean, there's some situations where I've had to let my business partner go, and they can't know that it's me because they hear the accent, and unfortunately, unfortunately. But then again, I'm not in a major city. I'm in a coastal town. It's happened to me though in Nairobi, but not to the extent like here. But this is what you also have to consider as well.
Which accent do you think would be discriminated against the most? Like if me and you were to go somewhere together, do you feel that it'd be safer for me to talk or for you to talk?
It doesn't matter. It's all money. It's all from overseas, so it's money.
Okay.
Could be Denmark, it could be German, French, American, but it doesn't matter. As long as you've taken a plane and come here, you have money. So therefore, you know, there's an entitlement mentality that you have to give me or that kind of thing. So you have to take that into consideration. But unfortunately, like I said, sometimes you're not going to know until we go through the project.
Yeah, I see it now. I'm glad that I'm having more of these conversations because it's allowing me to come with a less of a romanticized aspect of it, but more of a realistic
Absolutely.
aspect of it. I think both of them exist at the same time, especially with my circumstances, but I can see both sides of it. I was on live with a South African the other day, and she told me that the job market in South Africa for her is so bad that the bosses out there actually want to sleep with the women for them to be able to get any type of work.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
common in Africa. Very, very common. Ghana, Kenya. That's a given. That's not just South Africa. That is what women have to go through. That's common. Sorry to cut you, but
yeah,
that's
no,
that's that's common. Sorry.
that hurt my heart. And the worst part about it
Absolutely.
was it wasn't the sleeping with part that she was like disturbed by. She was disturbed by the part she said, and they don't want to use any form of protection at all. And I was like, well, I didn't even think that we was gonna get to that part because I thought that the first part was gonna be the
It's because it's so common. It really is. Women have to go through that to get jobs. It's very, very common here. So they don't like it, the fact that I go into business and I'm not flirting, I'm not doing all of those things or begging or whatever. And I'm like, well, don't take it. Okay, see you later. Bye. And they're just shocked by it because it's very common here.
wow. Well, I want to issue an apology to all of my Afro women worldwide that have ever had to go through this. 100%. I mean
Well,
that from the
thank you.
bottom of my heart.
You need to apologize, but thank you anyway, on behalf of the women that's gone through that.
The the conversation with the South African got a little bit better when I started to ask her. I said, "How many languages are in the area that you're in?" She said, "There's 11 acknowledged languages, and I speak 9 of them." I said, "There's your money right there. All you have to do
Absolutely.
is start a YouTube channel and start teaching people the language. As a matter of fact, I'll do you one better. There's an African ancestry group chat on Facebook that has about 100,000 people in there, and they get African results every single day. And you can make it a mission to connect with 3, 4 people a day, and you can set up a consultation for anywhere from $50 to $100 a day, and that'd be enough for you to live off of for since you in the
Hmm.
outer outskirts, you can live off of that for like 6, 7 months off of 2 or 3 consultations and still be able to go live on TikTok and be able to reuse the content. So I pretty much was helping her turn into a content creator and an independent contractor through her lived experience that she had. And she was so shocked by the fact that that was even an actual stream of income.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, that's nice.
I think that out of all of the tragedies that we went through, that's probably the only great thing about being a black American is that you can make anything out of anything.
Same here. You'd be surprised how they just. I mean, to be honest with you, I've seen more creativity here than I've seen in the West. Literally, kids, the way they can turn things into something, and it's like they will always find a way. It's incredible. It really is. And
What
I'm
I'm
seeing where African Americans get that from, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It is a reversal. It's definitely our motherland is always speaking through us and our talents and our creativity and everything. The resources part is the part that always sucks because as a black American, we're gonna always have this. Always. And we're always gonna spend it in the wrong direction. And as long as we have this, the rest of the diaspora is always gonna look at us like, well, what are they complaining about?
That's it. And if I dupe you or if I, you know, rob you or whatever, at the end of the day, you've got money anyway, so it don't matter.
We got a lot of healing to do. We got a lot of healing
I
to do
know.
as a
Oh my
diaspora.
God, I don't want to leave any depression. You know, as I said, it's some. You may have to kiss some frogs, but it's not everybody.
Hmm.
But people just need to have a balanced view before they come, right? Not to say that you're paranoid and going around, oh my God, everybody's this. No. But like we said, not to have this just a romanticizing view of Africa, but just be balanced. It's like anywhere you go, isn't it? I mean, when you go and relocate to any, even if you go to Europe, right? If somebody said to you, you know, you're going to Russia and it's going to be all amazing and incredible, and then you didn't, nobody told you about the racism that's there. It's not everybody that's racist, but you're going to encounter racism. So prepare the people.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. I wanted to because right now what I want to do is I want to form a 54 country coalition with African ancestry to where once you get your DNA results with African ancestry, there's really no next step. You kind of just on your own with your independent research. So what I want to do is I want to offer the opportunity to 54, really like 108, just so we can have two to start off with. So I'm gonna say 108 continental Africans who actually believe that members of the diaspora are their brothers and sisters and who are extremely diplomatic and patriotic about where they come from and articulate as well, to where they want to actually have the consultation and conversation with the people who just got their DNA results to really give them a realistic scope of what life looks like if they were to relocate there and if they want to just visit and et cetera, et cetera. So that's another thing I want to do next.
That's powerful. Sorry for being very fidgety, but I'm swapping arms because my gimbal ran out of battery, so my arm is. So I swap. So sorry for those who are watching. Um, that's powerful. Yeah, I think that's very needed. 100%. Yeah, and like I said, not everybody is ready to relocate. Not everybody wants to relocate, and that's okay. But I think as a diasporan, and especially as an African American and a Caribbean person, I think you should have a piece of the motherland. It's very controversial opinion, but I do. I think you should have something for a legacy for your children, whether it's buying property or whether it's having land or something. You know, I believe that that should be. So yeah, 100%.
I know that you spoke earlier about the stereotype worldwide about the Afro American woman. Is there a stereotype about the Afro American man, black Afro American man?
Yes, that has been sold to us. Even before, I don't know if they still do it now, but before, when certainly Ghanaians used to be going to America, the people at the immigration office that stamped their visas to say they can go would warn them about African Americans. That was very common. I don't know if it's done now, but certainly in the 90s and the noughties, that was very common. They will warn them about African Americans and say, oh, you know, the men, you know, the story that's been fed is, you know, African American men are baby fathers, so they don't marry. They they go and have lots of kids with different women. The men are in jail. All of this stuff. So again, Africans who go over, they're not educated about African Americans. They're taking what these people have told them. They're taking what has been fed to them through the TV and through, you know, videos and films. So when they go over there, they have kids and their kids are hanging around with African Americans. Don't hang around with them. They're no good. They're this, they're that. And then African Americans then hear that, but that the Africans don't like them.
Hmm.
And then they say, oh, we don't like Africans. And they don't realize where the root is coming from.
Right, right.
This is the stereotype. This is even being sold to us, and we're born in the UK. So can you imagine Africans themselves? It's like now, when I go to different places in Africa, they have such a negative view of Nigerians. It's crazy. Because of my features, people think I'm Nigerian.
I can see that.
Yeah. So people think I'm Nigerian and they'll be like, oh, Nigerians are this. And I'm like, first of all, I'm Ghanaian. And second of all, even if I wasn't Ghanaian, like, yeah, but it's where I said, where did you have you met a Nigerian? No, I haven't met a Nigerian. Okay, so where did you get this from? The movies, the Nigerian movies. They all do witchcraft. And all the pastors are this and they're all that and they do 419. Honestly, it's because of the movies and what's been shown, music videos and all this kind of stuff. So we have to be very careful. We don't realize the damage of gangster rap and movies and Cardi B gyrating on stage, and they don't realize what they are doing. It's damaging because if you've got an African mother and all she sees is Cardi B gyrating on stage. Now it's a little bit different because you have social media. But can you
Hmm.
imagine back in the 90s and the noughties when that's all they showed them? Of course you're going to say don't go out and hang around with them. Of course. But there needs to be that understanding between the two and know where the root cause is coming from.
No, I see. I can see that, especially when you look from the other. I'm a I'm a look from the other direction. So let's if we go and we flip it to the UK and you watch a movie like Austin Powers, or you only are a fan of Adele or Estelle, so you only have like a very limited scope. Or what's that rapper's name who did the song with Wiz Khalifa?
You're talking about an English rapper?
Yeah, he's from the UK.
Skepta?
Tiny.
Oh,
Uh
Tiny.
yeah. So
He's Ghanaian.
he's Ghanaian.
If it's the Tiny that I'm thinking,
He's a rapper, right?
yeah, the Tiny that I know is a rapper, but he's back in the day though, not now. He's not rapping now. Is
Okay.
this recent?
This is like years ago. He had a song with Wiz
Yeah,
Khalifa.
years. Yeah, years. Tiny well, if it's the rapper I'm thinking about, he's Tiny. Tiny Temper. You talking about Tiny
Yeah,
Temper?
yeah.
Oh, Tiny Temper's not small. No, Tiny Temper's Nigerian, British.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
And then even when Anthony Joshua just boxed, when he just boxed the Paul brother, when I seen
Hmm.
him with his UK flag, I was really hoping that at some point he would pull out his other
The
flag.
Nigerian.
And he happened to pull it out. I was very proud of that moment. So I can see it from like both sides when it comes to the limited scope. We really don't have, even with the internet, we don't have the opportunity to know who's factual, because now it becomes who has the louder voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I want to do, because I know that I've shared so many like different initiatives and stuff I want to do, but another thing that I want to do is I want to continue to present the people who have the smallest voice but the most talent or the most information to the masses. When I went down to Ibu Landing, I got a picture. Okay, this is a magazine cover that I was on, but let me point my finger in the right direction. There, over there, next to it, there's a picture of Ibu Landing. And for those who are not familiar with that story, that's where the Ibus were illegally slave traded after the slave trade became illegal, and then they were captured and took down to Georgia. And they ended up going to a place called St. Simon's Island, where they eventually took over the ship. And when they got there, there were other colonizers there waiting to trade them. And they said, we're not going to be colonized. And they held hands and said that the water brought us here, the water will take us back. And they all started walking into the water in unison. So when I found out I was a part of the Ibu tribe and the St. Simon's Island was only about 3 hours away from me, I had to go. And that's where I ended up getting my Ibu name, from an Ibu chief as well. So when I went down there, I met with something that we know now as the Gullah Geechee people. And when I met the Gullah Geechee people, they told me from their mouth their story. And at first I was recording it. Like we were talking, I'm talking to the aunt, to the like one of the oldest ones. She was like 70, and her daughter was like 50 something, and then they're like 30. So I'm talking like three generations of the Gullah Geechees, and it's on film. And the more that they talked and told their story, I just told the camera person just cut it, cut it, because this story is too
Spiritual.
it's too spiritual for me to dilute it with like footage. This is a real story. Like they not on a podcast in their mind. They're really giving me like heart to heart, Ibu to
Yeah.
give to Gullah Geechee a real conversation. So I kept the pictures, but I didn't put any of the footage out because the conversation was so powerful, and we were on such sacred ground as well too. Um, and I think that that's more of a patience that we have to have with each other as a diaspora too. When I go to Sierra Leone, I plan on sitting down with the leaders of each of the tribes and really talking to them about the depth of the origin. Where did you guys migrate from? Do you mind teaching me some of the language? Who sells you guys's garment in pieces? I would love to purchase from you guys. How do we the problem that you have with this tribe? Where did it start? If you remember, is there anything that we can do to reconcile this? What would bring peace between this and this? Is there anything that I can do as an African American, now being a citizen here, like the patience that is showcased? I think that that's what we need to have throughout our global diaspora with each other.
Powerful vision. It's a powerful vision.
Was there anything else that you wanted to tell the people before we got up out of here?
Yeah, wow, we've been talking for a hot minute. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
very easy to talk to.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very easy to talk to. Um, yeah, just wrapping up what we're saying really. Guys, come to the motherland. It's yours. But come to the motherland equipped, um, with a sound mind, with a balanced view, visit a few times, and coming to the motherland is different from it's different. It's not the same for everybody. For some people, it's straight up relocation. That's it. By like myself, I don't live in the Western world anymore, and I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me to go back and live there. For some people, it's 6 months here, 6 months back, 6 months here. For some people, it's investment. But whatever it is, remember that you don't need to be intimidated or scared about it, because it can take time. It took me 5 years to relocate, 5 years to put plans in place. Just because we're talking relocation now, it doesn't mean tomorrow you get on a plane and go. No, but once you make the decision, start the planning properly to then come over to the motherland. And if you have parents that are from Africa, you don't have to go to the country that your parents are from. I see Africa as a country, not a continent, for melanated people. For the colonizers, it's a continent. There should be borders. But I think for us, there shouldn't be. And you should take it like one big country that you can go and stay anywhere. You don't have to be where your parents are from, because sometimes you have an ancestral pull, you have a connection somewhere, and it doesn't make sense that it's not the place that your parents are from, or it's not the place where the DNA testing got you. Maybe you might go and visit there, but it doesn't mean you have to stay there. It's a country, Before the colonizers, we moved around. We were nomads. So you could be connected to some ancestor that was in a particular land. That doesn't make sense. So what I'm saying is that also listen to that spiritual pull as well. It could take you to a country that you didn't actually expect. And yeah, I think that's my final message.
No, I couldn't agree more, especially being connected to one of the most nomadic groups probably in the history of Africa, the Fulani tribe. I don't think there's any country in Africa that doesn't have the Fulani people living
Fulani.
there.
I'll
So
check. No, maybe East. Are you talking about West Africa or East? I don't know if there's Fulani. I don't think there's Fulani in Kenya.
I think that's some research that we got to do. Now we got more. Well, you got more homework.
Fulani is a westernized West. I don't, unless, yeah, because the Nilots, the Nilotic people are the Maasai, Samburu, the Horn of Africa. No, they're Kushites. Sorry, Horn of Africa are Kushites. Then you've got the Nilots and the Bantu, but the Fulani, I've never heard of Fulani in East, and I don't think I've ever heard of Fulani in South Africa.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
But
Well,
West
that's
Africa, yes.
yeah, definitely West. But that's your homework. So I'm gonna give you a week. Everybody, you heard it. She got a week, and then we're gonna see if there's some Fulanis that are in Kenya. Okay. Well, I appreciate you. I wanna thank you for having this conversation with me. This is going to go on my YouTube channel, and then I'm going to collaborate with her on her YouTube channel, and then we're going to clip it up as well. So you guys will be able to get, if for everybody that wasn't involved in this live, you guys are going to be able to get the replay. Make sure you follow me on all my social medias and on her social medias. You will see them pinned down in the comment and in the descriptions. So until next time, we are out, and I want to thank you again.
Take care. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Bye.